Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Today on The Young and the Restless, Claire and Kyle have an awkward meal with her parents. Nick, Faith, and Mariah search for Sharon, and Daniel walks out after a fight with Heather. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, Soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. Victoria and Cole are in one another's arms in his suite at the athletic club. When she wonders if things are better now than when they were younger, he said she's as beautiful and perfect as she was then. Rolling over, she tells him that time hasn't stood still. They are different than they were but still have a comfortable connection. It's also exciting and fun. As he strokes her, he says it feels like they finally got their timing right and learned from their mistakes. She has no regrets. She's just trying to enjoy this moment rather than worry about the future. He tells her that he is resigning from Oxford to stay in Genoa City for good. That makes her smile. In the dining room of the athletic club, Claire impresses Kyle with her love of hot sauce on fries. They don't want to think about his fight with his parents and stuff their faces instead. She notices her parents coming down the stairs and kissing in the lobby. Victoria realizes they have been spotted and guesses they can't keep this secret. Cole asks if that's what she was hoping for. She assures him she has no regrets. He's glad they are on the same page, and they walk over to their daughter's table. There are some awkward hellos, and Claire asks her parents to join them. They begin discussing hot sauce and quizzing each other about what they have been up to. Things get more awkward, and Kyle sips his Coke as Claire asks her parents what her were doing upstairs. They change the topic and have some small talk about Harrison and how popular he is at school. Victoria and Cole try to figure out why Claire and Kyle are having dinner together. They're evasive, but her parents can guess. Claire asks her Cole about England, and he explains that he's permanently moving back to Genoa City. The four of them chat about England. When Cole suggests a family trip, Claire suggests Kyle come as a tour guide. He has to get home to see Harrison before he goes to sleep. When he tells Claire she made his day magical, she says it was her pleasure. Once he's gone, Cole and Victoria stare at Claire. She tries to tell them that this was all just dinner and asks them not to jump to any conclusions. They laugh and point out she just invited Kyle to Europe. Claire turns it around on them and asks if they are a couple now. Her parents are taking it a day at a time and not labeling things. More. Is Lucy the next Sheila? Kyle arrives at the Abbott Manse and checks on his son. Going downstairs, he pours himself a drink and recalls kissing Claire in the park. He smiles to himself. Daniel sits in his apartment sighing until Heather arrives. He tells her that Lucy is locked in her room. Then he adds he had no luck at his job interview. She had no luck either. It doesn't look like there are any jobs in town. She's wondering if they really should leave Genoa City. Daniel thinks leaving would be a huge mistake. As she removes her jacket, he explains that he floated the trip to Portugal by Lucy. But she freaked out. He doesn't like sending the message that running away from your problems is okay. When Lucy joins them, Heather explains they are considering a change of scenery, maybe a different town. Are you that embarrassed of me? Lucy gasps. Her mom insists they are trying to protect her from Sharon and assures her they won't do anything rash. Lucy thinks they are being unfair and storms off. Turning to Daniel, Heather asks why he didn't back her up. He agrees with their daughter on this. Heather knows that he and Lucy had a rough morning, but she worries his judgment is getting cloudy. They debate that. The lawyer just wants them to do what's practical. Daniel points out they haven't been out of work long, and he has family in town. Does she want to make Lucy feel even more isolated? He repeats that running away from your problems is not a lesson to teach their daughter. Heather throws his running out on them in his face. He can't handle that and immediately stomps out. Sitting alone, Heather thinks for a bit, and then calls Lucy back out so they can talk without fighting. She explains that Daniel is gone, and the tension is high, so they need to try and work together. Sitting her down, she tells Lucy she knows she's hurting and not sharing with her the way she used to. Telling her there's no one who can love her more than she does. Heather begs for a way to help. Her daughter explains that moving won't help. She needs some space to breathe, so she can make things right. Her mom worries that trying to do that could make things worse. Nick meets with Mariah and Faith at Society to check in before they call it a night. They have all texted with Sharon and compare notes. Nick says she hasn't answered her phone. Mariah adds she missed the doctor's appointment. She worries they are making a big deal out of nothing. Then again, if Nick is right and she's not getting better, it might be time to step in. None of them want to sneak behind Sharon's back, but they must ensure she gets the help she needs. Faith thinks they could be making too much of this, but her dad says there's been too much to ignore. Mariah agrees. An outside party needs to look at the situation. Nick offers to take the blame if they are wrong. That would be better than things getting worse. He knows that he could be overreacting, but he remembers how bad things were before Sharon got her diagnosis. He suggests they get Sharon to tell them what's been going on in detail, and maybe have a group session with her doctor. Mariah thinks she needs to be reminded of all the love and support she has. Nick knows she's been suffering and having constant nightmares. At Sharon's place, the house is a mess. She flips through pages and rubs her head. Cameron appears, and she accuses him of putting sick ideas in her head. He reminds her of how different life could be if Cassie hadn't died. Sharon doesn't see the point. She can't change the past, and dwelling on it only makes things worse. He declares that the days of dwelling and dreaming are gone. It is time to act. Urging her to look around, he says she's hanging on by a thread and everyone can tell she's lying about holding it together. Her pain is only getting worse. How long can this go on? Sharon doesn't know what it means to act. He says the answer is inside her. He's just a manifestation of her inner world, giving voice to the things she's afraid to say. Sharon refuses to accept she would entertain the things he's suggesting. He points out she already is. I won't do it. Sharon insists, accusing him of suggesting an evil thing that won't bring Cassie back or reunite her with Nick. Cameron is sure Sharon wouldn't be hesitating if she could bring Cassie back, but Nick is another matter. Haven't they always found their way back to each other? Sharon says this is too extreme. He urges her to focus on herself. Doing this is how she can get back to being a good mom. If nothing else, it could ease her heartache and finally give her some peace. They continue to argue about the pressure he's putting on her, and she wonders why he has to hear his voice in her head instead of Cassie's sweet angel voice. Cameron tells her that he's the voice she needs to hear. Cassie will always be an innocent in her mind, but not him. He's the only one who can get her back on track. Tired of this, she heads for the door. Cameron pops up there and warns she'll never get rid of him. Nick arrives at Sharon's house with Faith and Mariah. The place is a mess, and Sharon is nowhere to be seen. Nick tries calling her to no avail, and Faith worries about who can help her mom. She can't handle anything being wrong with her. Her dad and Mariah remind her that's what this is all about. They are trying to give her mom the love and support she needs. Faith hugs her dad. Sharon arrives at Crimson Lights and demands some coffee from Esther. Seeing how tense she is, Esther tries to get her on some herbal tea. Sharon blows her lid until Cameron urges her to dial it back a notch. She can't pull off what they have planned if everyone thinks she's psychotic. Calming down, Sharon apologizes and asks Esther for whatever tea she thinks is right. When Sharon gets to the patio, Cameron reminds her that she needs to fly under the radar. She tells him that what he's been suggesting is repulsive. It's not my idea. It's all yours, he reminds her. He adds that it won't be as hard to pull off as she thinks. Obviously, she has it in her. When she does it, she will feel relieved. Just leave me alone. She blurts out as Esther comes out with tea. Sharon starts apologizing again and tells her she needs some quiet time. After putting down the tea, Esther immediately walks off. Sharon looks at her phone and sees Nick has been calling but ignores it. Daniel arrives and asks Esther for some ice water. He spots Sharon on the patio and avoids her. Cameron urges Sharon not to blow this. She has a lot riding on it. Nick calls Esther, who tells her that Sharon is there and not being herself. He asks her to keep her there as he heads over. With some more urging from Cameron, Sharon heads over to Daniel. She invites him onto the patio, but he doesn't think that's a good idea. She claims she just wants to clear up a few things.